Hello everybody and welcome back to The Drop Step. It's your boy Rashad and I'm here with another video for y'all today. And it's a pretty special one. Not necessarily like special in a production sense, but special in the fact that I just learned Nikola Jokic just won his back-to-back MVP award. And I'm very excited. I got all of the joy and stuff off of my person before I got onto the camera. Overall, it's just a good feeling right now. As a Jokic fan, as a fairly new Jokic fan, I'm very happy. Like, very, very happy. But that's not technically what this discussion is about today. Today, I want to talk about just the overall sentiment around this year's MVP award and the fact that I don't think people truly appreciate what we just saw. And this is coming from both sides of the aisle, too, right? This is coming from the Jokic fans all year that were calling Embiid a free throw merchant. They were calling Embiid trash. They were saying that he didn't deserve it because all he did was shoot free throws, whatever. And then the other side, the Embiid/Sixers fans that were hating on Jokic and, at least in my eyes, not actually coming up with a constructive argument as to why Jokic should have lost it. First of all, I want to congratulate Joel Embiid for an incredible season. I mean, he won the scoring title this year. He was the second center to do it since Shaq in, 02, I believe it was. Like, way back when Shaq won the scoring title. He averaged 30 points. He averaged 11 rebounds. For the better part of the year, for at least half the season, he did not have his second All-Star teammate. I will cede that Embiid absolutely carried this Sixers squad for a majority of the year. And then he got James Harden and his own production didn't really waver, right? And that might be partially due to the fact that James Harden is a playmaker in general. But naturally, when you have another superstar who commands the ball a lot, your numbers typically are going to fall. We saw it with Steph in Golden State. We saw it with Kevin Durant in Golden State. We can point to so many examples of superstars not regressing, but taking a dial back in their production. Joel Embiid did not do that. I've maintained this position that I think Jokic should have won MVP. I think it was just the way that he was playing and the narrative of him missing 40 points per game from two different players all season long. Yeah, I was starting to form that opinion pretty early that, all right, this team is really, you know what I'm saying, Jokic is really carrying these motherfuckers. Like, they are really, really bad. And ultimately, I think that's why he won. Right, you can look at the stats and say, oh, Jokic, you averaged 27, he averaged almost 14 rebounds a game and 8 assists. The stats tell a very huge story, right? Because these weren't empty numbers. As silly as a concept as empty stats are, these were not empty numbers. These were numbers that came in an effort to get this team to the playoffs. And I think that's what people don't understand. There cannot be simultaneous praise for Embiid playing with a shit supporting cast while also not acknowledging the fact that Jokic's supporting cast and bench, when he was off of the floor, is historically a terrible team. We're not talking about a team that's bad in just like the league, the current league, right? Or in the last 5 years. The entire history of the NBA, the Nuggets had one of the worst supporting casts when their superstar sat down ever. And I think people are trying to underestimate that, and they're trying to equalize what Embiid went through as well. I already mentioned at the top of this video that Embiid did a very good job of carrying this team. That does not mean that I think his supporting cast was worse than the Nuggets, right? This Nuggets roster, if you look at the construction of it, has 1 to 2 good perimeter defenders, has almost negligible shot creation, and has inferiorly worse defense than a lot of other rotations out there. I think the vitriol toward Jokic was a little unwarranted, and I think people kind of took this MVP race a little bit more personal than they probably should have. Now, I'm okay with admitting my fault, right? There was a time in the year where I thought that Jokic was by far and away the MVP candidate. I thought that Embiid didn't have a chance. I thought Giannis didn't have a chance. Those late pushes by Jason Tatum and Luka, no shot. There was a point during the season where I felt like a stan, right? And I kind of deviated away from being an NBA fan. I absolutely appreciate what Joel Embiid has done, 100%. And I have maintained the position that I think either one of them could have won. Did I think Embiid should have? Absolutely not. But he absolutely could have, because the argument was there. Another shit argument that a lot of people like to use is the first round of the playoffs. My MVP wouldn't get swept in the first. The MVP award has never, ever been decided based on the first round of the NBA playoffs. Stop bringing it up in discussions about why someone should be the regular season MVP. Or if you're gonna sit here and try to discredit Jokic by saying that, he's almost about to get swept in the first round. My MVP doesn't lose in the first round. Aren't we missing the fact that the construction of the Warriors roster is meant to win a championship? Right? Borderline, the Sixers should have beaten the Raptors, right? This is a Raptors rebuilding team that far exceeded the expectations that they had this year. This was supposed to be a rebuilding team, and they ended up being the 5 seed because they got hot at the end of the season. And regardless of all of that, the Sixers were still the better team and should have won that series. Praising a team for beating someone that they should have versus crucifying a player and a team for losing to a team that they should have does not make sense in my head. And I think that's the biggest problem I had with a lot of social media MVP voters this year, right? Was the fact that you were trying so hard to create meaningless and baseless narratives in order to push down one player's candidacy in favor of the other, right? And this went on both sides as well. Reducing Joel Embiid to just a free throw merchant is very irresponsible. It's very incorrect in your, opinions technically aren't wrong, but that is a very wrong opinion. Comparing MVPs does not have to be a war of bringing the other one down. Because if you truly believe that your guy's accolades and your guy's accomplishments mean more than the other ones, you should not have to resort to damn near bullying and demeaning and just straight up nasty comments about someone else's MVP case, because your guy should already have a strong enough case for himself. If you can't have a basketball discussion without trying to bring another player down in terms of comparing to, you don't need to be talking basketball. And I wholeheartedly believe that, right? I have a lot of friends who end up being Jokic or Embiid fans that actually know how to talk about basketball. Even some of them, myself included, were wavering into this area of starting to hate the other MVP candidate. Right? So anything bad that the one person does or the other person does, it becomes a whole case of, well, this is why they shouldn't win MVP. He just lost to the Pistons. He just lost to shit team X without player X. We're going to let 48 minutes determine who's going to win MVP. And this is a sentiment that I hate most with NBA Twitter is they'll take one game, they'll take one quarter, they'll take one 3-game stretch in the season and use it as the main platform as to why X players should not win MVP. And I hate that. I absolutely hate that part. As someone who wants to be as unbiased as possible in terms of NBA commentary, it hurts my soul when I see people not actually appreciating both sides. I don't really have to reiterate what I've been saying about both players. I've made an MVP case video for both of them. At the end of the day, man, you really just have to congratulate these players. Because Jokic has been very vocal about this point, and it's the fact that he does not care if he wins MVP as long as it's a big man. Emotionally, in terms of these awards, NBA fans take it to an extreme. And it's a very, very bad problem that we have because even these players aren't really that concerned with the award. Embiid, I'm pretty sure, has come out and said, that Jokic is an incredible player as well. You have two people whose fan bases are so vehemently against each other and borderline hate each other. Meanwhile, the two players don't actually care. So if you're going to come out and say that, one didn't deserve the other because X pointless reason, don't talk about basketball. If you are coming into a conversation about who should win the MVP award and don't have accurate points made for both sides, in favor of both sides, you do not need to be talking about it. And I know this video is probably going to be long, but honestly, at this point, there were just some things I had to get off my chest. So thank you so much for watching this entire thing. If you enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe if you're new. I'll talk to y'all later.